I never really knew my biological family. I was adopted when I was just a baby. My adoptive parents were loving, supportive, and never hid the fact that I was adopted. I never cared to look into my biological roots until my adoptive mom passed away last year. Losing her shattered me. I think I was desperate to feel connected to someone, anyone, by blood. That's when I started searching. I signed up for one of those ancestry websites, did the DNA kit, and within a few weeks, I received a notification. Close relative match found. Her name was Angela. According to the platform, she was my aunt, my mother's sister. I stared at her profile picture for a long time. She looked normal. A kind face, smiling with two small children beside her. I was nervous, but I eventually sent her a message. To my surprise, she replied the next day. "Oh my God, I've been looking for you for years. You have no idea how much this means to me. We need to talk." She gave me her number. When we spoke on the phone, Angela sounded genuinely relieved and happy. She explained that my mother, Marianne, had passed away years ago under difficult circumstances. She was vague about it, but I didn't push. She said my family was eager to meet me, and after a few days of messaging, she invited me to visit. I was hesitant, but curiosity won. I agreed. Angela lived in a small, isolated town about 5 hours from where I grew up. As I drove deeper into the countryside, the roads got narrower, the forests thicker, and the air heavier. There was barely any cell signal. When I finally arrived, Angela's house was strange. Not creepy, but old. Very old. It was a big Victorian home surrounded by overgrown trees and rusted fences. Angela greeted me at the front porch with a long, tight hug. "Welcome home," she whispered. Inside, the house smelled like dust and lavender. The floors creaked with every step. I met her husband, Carl, and their kids. Then, one by one, other relatives started arriving, people I'd never seen before, but who all greeted me with this unnerving warmth, like they'd been waiting for me. The family dinner was uncomfortable. Everyone stared at me, smiling, but not really saying much. Just watching. Occasionally, someone would mutter things like, "It's been so long," or "You look just like her." At one point, I asked, "So can someone tell me more about my mom?" The entire table went silent. Forks paused midair. Angela forced a smile. "In time, sweetheart. In time." That night, I was given a guest room on the second floor. It was small but cozy enough. The window overlooked the forest, and the walls were decorated with old portraits, faded photos of stern-looking relatives in black and white. At around midnight, I woke up to the sound of whispering. I sat up, heart pounding. The voices were faint, coming from the hallway. I crept to the door and cracked it open. The hallway was dimly lit by a single bulb. I could hear it clearer now. Whispering, chanting, multiple voices. I stepped out and quietly followed the sound. It led me to the attic door at the end of the hallway. The whispers stopped abruptly the moment I touched the handle. Silence. I stood there for a full minute, debating whether to open it. But something in my gut told me not to. I went back to my room and locked the door. The next morning over breakfast, I casually asked, "Does someone sleep in the attic?" Angela froze mid-sip of her coffee. "No," she said a little too quickly. "Why do you ask?" "I just heard something last night." Carl chuckled. "Old houses make noises. You'll get used to it." But the way everyone else avoided my gaze told me they knew something they weren't saying. Later that day, I wandered the property. The backyard stretched into the woods, but something caught my eye, a small cemetery. There were about 10 gravestones, most broken or weather-worn. As I walked closer, one of them made my stomach drop. It read, "Marianne Holloway, beloved daughter and mother, 1980 to 1995. 1995, wait. That's the year I was born." My hands trembled. I checked the birth date again. She died when I was barely a newborn. I did the math over and over. It didn't make sense. If she died in 1995, then how was I even here? That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about the attic, about my mother's gravestone, About how weirdly perfect the family seemed, too perfect. At around 1 a.m., I heard footsteps. Heavy ones. Slow. Methodical. They walked past my room and stopped. I held my breath. The doorknob jiggled. Click. 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 But it didn't open. After a few seconds, the footsteps continued toward the attic stairs. I waited, then quietly opened my door just a crack. I saw Carl. He was climbing the attic ladder, carrying something wrapped in a white sheet. His hands were shaking. I followed barefoot, as quietly as possible. I stayed far enough behind to not be seen. When he reached the attic, he pushed open the door and stepped inside. I slipped closer and peeked through the crack. What I saw made me nearly scream. In the middle of the attic was a circle of candles. Around it, 5 family members stood, Angela included, wearing white robes. In the center was an old, crumbling wooden cradle. Carl placed the sheet-wrapped bundle inside the cradle. Then Angela began chanting. The words were old guttural, not any language I recognized. Suddenly, the cradle started rocking by itself. Something inside it moved. A shape. Small. Twisting. Breathing. I stumbled backward, my foot hitting a loose board with a loud crack. The chanting stopped. Dead silence. Angela's voice. Who's there? Panic flooded my veins. I bolted back down the hallway, straight into my room, slammed the door and locked it. My heart felt like it was going to explode. Footsteps came pounding after me. Knocking. Open the door. We need to talk. I didn't answer. I grabbed my bag, shoved everything inside, opened the window, and climbed down onto the porch roof. From there, I jumped to the ground, scraping my hands and knees. I didn't care. I sprinted to my car, praying it would start. As I fumbled with the keys, I saw them, all of them, standing on the front porch watching. Not chasing. Just watching. Angela smiled. You'll be back. You have to come back. The engine roared to life, and I sped down that dirt road faster than I thought possible. It's been 3 months since then. I changed my phone number, deleted my Ancestry profile, moved to a different state, but they still found me. Last week, I received a letter. No return address. Just a single sheet of paper with 6 words written in perfect cursive. Blood always calls you back. And attached to it was an old, faded photograph. It was a picture of my mother, holding me as a baby. Standing behind her was Angela, smiling. In the photo, dated 1995, the same year my mother supposedly died. I wish I never looked for them.